And I'm live. So, I hope you guys can hear me and you are there. So, yeah, very impromptu stream. So, I'm playing with my lighting setup. Okay, the umbrella fall off, but that's fine. I'll fix it later. So yeah, why this sudden stream? Yeah, we can continue working on Hazelnode, I guess. I was available, and since I won't be available for next 15 days or so starting 1st of Feb, let's get at least the CRUD working and the routing complete so we can focus on the actual stuff. Hi Alberto. So let me just share this on Discord. So I did ask in the chit chat whether okay, Alberto has seen this and reacted here. Cool. So this is part 5, and if we go back to Hazelnode, and this was where we left off last episode. Not exactly, I changed the styling, so this was not at the center. I made it to the center and increased its width. And what I did behind the scenes was, right, if we go to the GitHub Hazelnode, let's go to GitHub and check what I did after the stream. So this was like, I added doc type names that are in this actually that I'm using, so it's easier for TypeScript to pick those up, and we don't have to type doc type names again and again completely by hand. And I added a new feature to the Frappe API we are creating. So if we go to frappe.ts, there is a new set value mutation. So mutation is a concept of hey Minte. So we saw the use query, right? That helps us fetch data from the backend and display it. So we displayed this list that we created, right? And it is like kept stale, and React query does all the magical stuff. So what if we want to modify the server state, right? For example, this enable disable thing, creating a new workflow, this all are server side effects, right? They change the server state. So for that, React query gives us something called a mutation, and I just built a wrapper around it. So if I just close this part and change the theme, I don't like this theme. Dracula, GitHub dark default, this is fine. Oh, I am not sharing screen. Okay, this was a horrible thing. So yeah, again, if I come back, I created a set value mutation, and I should have noticed that. And this green color jacket is causing the issues with green screen. So it's better to take that off. Yeah, it's much better. And so yeah, as I was saying, I just added this new mutation. So mutation, as I was explaining, is a concept of React query where you can mutate data, right? So in the backend. So this is just a wrapper around frappe.client.setValue, right? So you make a post request and it takes a doc type, name, and field name. Field name is basically the key value pairs which you want to update in the backend. And today we are going to use this hook, right? Set value mutation, and I also added it to this use doc type. So it returns a use set value mutation properly typed with the doc type. Cool. So what I want to do is, I actually tried it out. So let me just go to list, and I will disable this. Like let's remove this so you can see the whole process I went through. And so what I'm doing right now is that use list, we use this for the displaying the list, and I'm also using use set value mutation, and I'm calling this hook. It gives me workflow set value mutation, and here when the user clicks this what do you say, switch, right? This switch. So currently nothing happens because we are not handling any change. We are just, what do you say, calling this toggle enabled function with the workflow itself. So whatever current workflow is being clicked on, right? So we go here, and now what I want to do is in the backend, right? I want to set the value of this to enabled. So if you go to the desk, right, 8000/app, we could have gotten to 8080. That would be fine as well. Here's a workflow list, and I want to change this checkbox, right? Enable disabled. That is what actually is this toggle in this front end. So here is how I can do that. So in the front end itself, so what I'm going to do is an optimistic update. So I will first do workflow.enabled equal to, so I can do this, but it will say that whatever, like this, there is a type issue because Frappe types, the app has generated the types in such a way that it takes 0, 1, the actually how Frappe stores it, right? So what we have to do is, if it is enabled, we have to disable it, otherwise we have to enable it. So this will do one thing. So when you go back, it will, okay, should have worked, but I think, why isn't it working? So if it's enabled, we are disabling it, else we are enabling it. We did send the correct workflow, right? Okay. That's fine. So this, I think if we don't let set query handle, so I think this, whenever you are clicking this is being updated. It seems like it, but let's remove this query and let's try this now. Doesn't work. Let's refresh. Still doesn't work. If it's enabled, then we are disabling it, otherwise we are enabling it. That's what I'm doing. That doesn't work. Weird. Oh, okay, got it. So this is being rendered by the query data, so we can't directly modify edit this. So there is something, we go to React query set data, set, I think it's called set query data v4. Oh, okay. So I think previously I had implemented it wrong. So now we'll implement it properly. So let me just search for set query data. Yep. So you can modify the query data without touching the server, right? So this is called an optimistic update. So what we can do is, we can say, come on, set query data. Yeah, here is the thing. So you give it the query key and the updater. Okay, optimistic update. There is a guide, we can read that. Yeah, it's like fun stuff, right? So I'm kind of working on a Sunday too. Call it work, hobby, project. The same thing for me right now. So here it says you can, on settle, you can invalidate the queries. Updates from mutation responses. Yeah, this is set query data. Okay. Query client. So we can't do this. This won't update. Query client. So we have to do this probably. By the way, we can do it in backend as well, if not in front end. So what I will do is I will call this workflow state.mutate, and let's disable copilot because it will cause issues. Yeah, so it takes a name, so the actual name of the doc type, so that will be workflow.name, right? And then values. So what do you want to update, right? So in this case we want to update the enabled field with workflow.enabled. If it is enabled, we want to disable it, otherwise we have to enable it, right? If this is this, otherwise, okay, semicolon won't come. Format document. And if I go back, right, if I go back and now try to do this, you will see this works, not just in the front end, but if I enable it, I go to this thing, both are enabled, right? It is actually making request to the backend, right? So our mutation is working, but if it is a slow connection, right? So this is what I found out, that let me just close the dev tools and go to network, slow 3G. If you click and it is through slow 3G, right, it is making a request, and so much time, after so much time the checkbox went off. Same is for the on, it makes a request if it is slow internet connection. See, so this is an issue, right, for users who are on slow internet. For fast, it is like, this is local, right? So it feels like it is instantaneously doing it. So this is where optimistic updates can come in, that you update it anyways, right? And then if something goes wrong, you revert it back. So we'll toggle it instantaneously as if it actually happened, and then if something goes wrong, we can say, okay, something went wrong. So how do we do that? So we were reading about optimistic updates. So you can say query client dot set query data, right? So we have to get the query client here. So const query client equal to use query client. So this will give us the client. Yeah, we want to just the UI part, right? We just want to update it in the UI, and anyways this backend thing is called, and we will handle if something goes wrong. So let's update in just a UI, so it's like happens instantaneously. So good UX, and then query client dot set query data, right? And for what query key do we want to set it? So we can check Frappe what query key it uses for. It uses the doc type, list, and params, right? So I think this can be use list dot, does it? Okay, workflow list dot, no, okay, maybe we can directly call it in workflows list dot set, is it? No, set data is not there. So probably this should work. So I'm trying to find the key. So actual query, which query do we want to update, right? Workflows list dot query key doesn't give query key. It gives a lot of other stuff, but not the actual query key. Weird. So what do we do? Should we create it? I don't think this is a good idea. So what could be done? Let's do it for now. We won't worry about that. So this is doc type, right? So wf dot, it will be Hazel workflow. We want to update the list, and the params will be this fields. I'm not sure this is the right way to do it. Let's go back. Let's not do this. And probably what we can do is, right, we can say, so optimistic update is hard, kind of, sort of. So why doesn't it let me change this thing? It is not causing a re-render. So okay, let's read more about it. On settled EV, this is something else. So you are saying is pending, then this. So somehow we have to find a way for this checkbox to have its own state, kind of. So this checked thing. Okay. Because this is like in slow internet connection, this is not acceptable, right? Let's keep it at slow so we know that okay, this is the problem we are solving, right? If I click and then wait for a few seconds, then it goes up. Okay, so how do we solve this? I said, right, we'll focus on details as well, the small UX stuff, so we make a good product. Cool. So I'm again thinking, how can we do that? So one thing we can do, we can say const toggles, set toggles equal to react dot use state, right? And we have to give it a type, so that will be an array of booleans, or we can do boolean, right? So toggles, it will be a list of booleans, and once we have this list, right, once we have this list, where is this? Okay, this, right? We can populate this. So set toggles will be, okay, this is might get a little complex, but let's follow, and we can, if we can simplify, we'll simplify. So this will be a list. So basically this will map workflows dot map callback function, that will be not workflow dot wait enabled. Does this make sense? Okay, what's the error? Is not assignable to this. Okay, and what is set toggles accepting? Okay, let's const toggle values equal to workflows dot map callback function. This returns workflow dot enabled, and this will be a boolean, right? So if we see now, this is a list of boolean, and set toggles, or it can be undefined as well, defined or array of booleans, right? So set toggles takes toggle values, and this should be happy now, right? So if we print it somewhere around here inside the card content itself, json dot stringify toggle values. Okay, something went wrong. What went wrong? Console. React limits the number of renders to prevent an infinite loop. Toggle values. Oh, toggle values is something else. Toggles, right? This is toggles, this is set toggles. Okay, let's reload now. Something we are doing wrong. Is this set call wrong? Okay, that is the issue causing stuff. Set or use state react using the state hook, and we want to use the use state 0 on click. Do this. Yeah, probably I get it now why it's trying to cause an infinite, because when you call set state, right, this causes a re-render, and then again this is called. So we don't want to call it again and again. We want to call it when. So this 2 lines. The first time this data is available, right? So we can say, is there any hook we can use here? Okay, how do we listen to events? React query events. Query function, queries. So let's see some examples. Maybe let's go to the latest documentation. Optimistic updates UI or cache. How does that work? Oh, here is the index. Let's see where it is doing the optimistic update. Okay, on mutate, it is setting the text to this, cancelling the queries. Snapshot the previous value. Okay, options has the query key. If previous to do's, set query data. I think that's the way to go, set query data, but since we're not able to get the key, we backed off of it. But I think this is not a right way again. This is real development. You have to try stuff, experiment, go back, clear everything off and restart. That reminds me of a movie I recently saw, 12 Fail. So very good movie. But yeah, so somehow here we have to get these things. Does it give me options? Data error, this, that. It gives everything but use list dot. Okay, so here is what we can do. We can, when we are using use doc type, we also return use list or weird, use list doc type and params. Okay, we can do that. Use list options is equal to get list options. So this same thing. Cool. So this should be not use, this should be get list options. And then it also takes params. So this same thing. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Just give me a second. Okay. So now what we can do is we can const options. So here, there we exported it. Right now here you can say get list options. And then you can say const query options equal to get list options, and the params will be the same. So here I'm repeating myself, which I shouldn't, but for now that's fine. We'll just get it working and then refactor. So now query options, right, will get me the thing I wanted, which was to const query client equal to, once we figure it out, it will be easier. So use query client. Cool. And now we can say query client dot set query data query options dot query key. Where is the key? Query key. Yeah. And then we can update data. So let's now read. So it takes two things. One is this, one is context, and one is the previous to do's. Right. So this. Why does it need context? I'm not sure. So I think context is whatever comes use the context return from unmuted. Okay, it's like reverting back. I don't want that, I want this. Okay, so you return an object with whatever was there with the updated stuff. Okay, so here is what we do. Okay. This got complicated pretty quick, but let's do this. We want to set query data. And we want to check that toggle, right? Whichever was clicked, you want to check that toggle or uncheck. So what do we do? This looked like a very small feature. And maybe there is a simpler solution, but I can't think of it right now. Or maybe should I give it a try? Fine. So whatever old data was there, which was, I think, which is inside this workflows list dot data, right? So we should bring, doesn't matter. So workflows, right? This will be, oh, that's fine. Or does it give you the actual data that is in there? It should, by the way. Okay, get the previous query data. Okay, so instead of first current workflows equal to query client dot get query data. So then, so maybe we have to await it. Yeah, so query options dot query key. Cool. And we want to update the enabled for this particular workflow. Let's say for let workflow of current workflows, if this is the workflow which was checked in, so workflow dot name is equal to this current workflow dot name. We want to set the enabled is equal to workflow dot enabled. If it is enabled, we have to disable it, otherwise let's just the reverse of it. So use const, that's fine. Let's use const, possibly undefined. Okay, so we'll only do this if not current workflows, just return, right? So this won't be undefined anymore. And now we have updated the data, right? So what we can do is we can say current workflows. Okay, so let's hope this works, and let's disable the server side update. Let's go back, let's come here, let's reload. Okay, it doesn't work. Hopefully it's not making any requests. Yeah, but still doesn't work. Let's console log this. Console.log or we have the dev tools. Let's observe the dev tools. This is, so what's inside the query data, we can actually see it here. So 0 and 1 both are enabled, and when clicking this, it became disabled, but the UI didn't update. This also became disabled, but the UI didn't get updated. Okay, so now it's something else. As you can see, the data, okay, again became enabled. it got disabled. As you can see, it's 0. It becomes enabled when you refocus. But yeah, so let's read more. Optimistically update to the new values. Set query data, previous to-dos, this, that. So this is only on mutate. Why our set query data is not working? Huh. I think the toggle will take today's whole episode, but at least we will learn something out of it. So we are setting query, and it's also changing, but not the UI. Set query data not updating UI. Okay, someone already has this issue. The issue is use state doesn't trigger if the value in state is the same as the current value. Just fine if you enter a different text and press the button. Should trigger the update of this. Yes, it should. And if you remove setting for your, it updates every time you click add. I'm not sure why the interaction of the causes minimal required. Click the button once in the dev tools, but on the screen is not. If you remove the set state or set it, it works. We don't have a set state. So this will work. Old data. What is this? Okay, maybe it doesn't look inside the object, so we have to copy this object. Okay, let's enable Copilot now. I think I got the issue. Create a copy of the object. Okay, toggle the enabled value. Okay, and then we can say const updated work flows equal to this empty list. That's fine. And updated workflows dot push the new workflow, and here updated workflows. Okay, so let's go back to Hazelnode. This works, this just works, and we have to just move. Yay! So this calls for this. This is complicated, I know. So what I will do is I will move this part out and this part out. So what we are saying is we'll clean this up, don't worry. So this is just in the front end, right? This is just in the front end, nothing to do with the back end yet. If you just check your desk as well, it won't change. This is just optimistically we are saying, okay, this got happened in the backend, but it actually didn't, right? So this is what we had to do for optimistic updates. So let's write a comment for ourselves that this is, and we can the current workflows will basically be coming here as well. So we can say let's see if this works. Return. That's fine. I'll keep it like this. If it works, why do we? Okay, let's get rid of this. And this is the code that was required to optimistically update it, right? And now this was the code that is required to actually update in the backend, right? So now I go back. I say, now we don't know whether it was updated in the backend or not. So we can go back and check Hazelnode. So this is advanced, by the way. This is not like you can get away without implementing this too, but right, we are doing best practices and learning stuff on the way. This is fine. Whoever is watching it 2 years, 3 years, maybe a year later, or maybe 6 months, just say hi in the comments. Right? So if I disable both and go back to the backend, you will see both will be disabled, right? But we want feedback here. So this mutate, right? It gives us some hooks. So you can come here and say that I want on success, right? On success of this, I want to do something. And in this case, I want to show a toast workflow updated successfully, or we can call it like more specific, and we can say whether it was disabled or enabled, right? So we can do this string interpolation, template literals, and workflow. So it will be enabled if it got enabled, right? So that should be wf.enabled else disabled. No, the wrong order. Ha. If it is this, then this disabled, just to make the message more specific. That's it. Okay, so let's go back. Let's refresh. We didn't need to refresh. Hey Lewis. You see, this only comes when the backend call goes right? So if for some reason the backend call goes wrong, so let's make it go wrong by doing a silly mistake like this, right? Go back, try this, right? This works, but actually you don't see your popover, and it should go back to its original state. So we only updated half of it. So we have to say on settled. In any case, just go to the backend and get the latest stuff, right? What is this? Oh, it should be. So that's why I didn't query key. That's why I don't trust Copilot always. Query options dot query key. Okay. Now invalidate queries will basically say, okay, fetch the latest state from the backend. So, okay. As you can see, since this is not a slow network, you might observe this in a slow network. So let's go to slow 3G on, and something goes wrong, right? It goes back to its original state, because that didn't actually happen in the backend. That was optimistically. We were optimistic that this will go right? Cool. I hope this is making some sense, but now we'll fix the issue, right? We'll come back. And now I open up this, so slow 3G, and I enable it. This got enabled quickly. And now when it actually happened in the backend, we see this, right? So this is like the worst case, very slow 3G. Fast 3G, it will be faster, right? And no throttling, it will be even faster. And it's actually, if you see this means that, cool. And we can go one step ahead and also add a on error as well, that okay, something goes wrong, display a message that something went wrong. But we were successfully able to implement this toggle thing, and it is talking through the backend as well. If you see this, if you come back, disable, you see this will be disabled. Cool. So let's hit commit. We implemented a feature, feat toggle enabled from workflows list. Cool. So now what we want to do is now I want to update. So I want to create a new document, not a doc type. So doc type is already there, and when I click this, right, I want a dialog to open and take some input from me. So basically I want Hazel workflow list, this. So they should be able to give it a title. Just the title I think is enough for now, and done, right? So one input, nothing complex. So we'll go back. We have the dialog component. If we see this in our component /UI, we have dialog, and we want to show this dialog. So let's read the documentation for this. What's happening on Twitter? Okay. Let's go back, catalyst, UI. Open dialog, yeah. Let's go and read the dialog. Yeah, so we have to import dialog actions, dialog body, dialog description, dialog title. That's fine. So let's import this in our list. So probably this list has already become too long, so we should implement another component called probably add. But yeah, for now let's do it here. So we need to refactor it. Just after this we'll refactor. So it's inside /component/UI. Cool. We imported it, and now how do we use it? We use a use state hook, right? So we come here, const use, like not use, it will be show dialog. Okay, Copilot is helping. So we have to add import from React, and this will be false by default. So this is not So one more thing that can be done is we can disable the. So Francis says, just a thought, why not use a loader GIF and not show that instead if the backend failed to update? So the whole point of optimistic update is to make it feel like an app, right? A native app, not a, what do you say, web app that is making requests behind the scenes. So there are two ways to solve this. Like the optimistic was one, and it will pass most of the times, that we are sure. So for this small stuff, optimistic makes sense. That's my opinion though. And so later if someone complains, right, well, why, okay, it didn't get enabled, I enabled it, so on and so forth, which is like very low chance of happening. So what you can do is we can disable it. So this will be darkened out, so the user knows that, okay, something is happening, this is not final yet, right? So this happens when you send a message on WhatsApp and there is a symbol. So message gets sent, it gets displayed as if it was sent, but there is something sending or an indicator that, okay, it is not final yet. So maybe we can do that as well, right? So how that would work is, so mutate gives you a is loading thing. So whenever it is loading or something, it will show you I think makes sense. I won't go into this right now, but yeah, we can do that. So it is disabled if that thing is loading, right? Cool. Okay, let's close this. Okay, I was trying to get the dialog working. So yeah, show dialog, set show dialog. By default it will be hidden, so closed in other words. And I will just close this function. So we are displaying the list here, the error here, and the card here. I want to come out of the card. Here it will be dialog, right? And something wrong with the component, I know, just give me a, so open and is open, that will be open equal to is, I like to call my booleans like this, is dialog, or let's be more specific, is show add new workflow dialog set show new workflow dialog. So this is much more specific, and then we say okay, on close set show new workflow dialog. Okay, so what does it say? Children is declared. Okay, we want, and we want a dialog title that will be new workflow, right? Let's go back and let's try it now. Okay, nothing shows up, something wrong. Oh, we have to okay, we have to somehow make this true, right? So in our button, this new workflow button, we have to add an on click at on. I'm still in the view world, so at was the reflex, so we want to say set new workflow dialog true. So show that dialog. Let's go back, let's come here and let's click this, and as you can see the dialog is coming now. It just has a title because we have just given it a title. So new workflow, it should be create new workflow. How does that look? Cool. And what else do we want in the dialog? We don't want a description, I guess, but we do want the body and actions. So let's do dialog body and dialog. That's fine. Okay, so we want two buttons, exactly how it is in this example, right? So cancel, so it will be set this, so probably should have chosen a shorter name, but for now it is fine. Let's go back, let's come here. Cool. So now there is a refund and cancel, so it should be create and cancel. So I want this button to be, because this is the primary action now. Give it a color, lime all over the place. Okay, looks cool. This can be an outline button, maybe. Let's try outline. Yeah, I like this one better than the ghost button. Yeah, let's add a body to this dialog, of course. So field label input, this is exactly what we want. So we'll say we want in the body, right? Field label will be workflow, or we can call it just title, and this will be input. We want an input, and that will be imported from, so let's fix the imports here. It should come from @/components. This will be input. Let's click this. Field, label, description, error message. Okay. There is no input, so probably we have to grab it from here. Let's check if I have already. Okay, I don't have the input component, so we will file, open recent catalyst, more. Come on. Not here, so probably it will be in Finder, downloads. Where did I store it? Catalyst UI kit. Okay. So I want input. Let's open with VS Code. I want to copy this whole thing, and hopefully it doesn't depend on anything extra. It's fine, and we'll call it input.tsx, and I'll paste it in here. So cool. Now I can come back here, and hopefully this will show me my input as well, or I will import it manually. Import input, and it is always giving me relative paths, but I want this, because if you, so this has benefits when you move this using, we are using a mix of ShatCN plus Catalyst UI. So whatever components I'm picking and choosing from the two. So I like the input component from here, or we can use, let's see, ShatCN's input. Input. Yeah, probably this is better. Input, label, form. Okay, let's use ShatCN's input, so we can get rid of the field and field set. Okay, I should have. Thanks Maharshi for the heads up. And we can remove unused stuff. Field stuff can be removed as well. And we won't have anything yet, so we are not using dialog description, so we can get rid of it. And then if I go back, okay, something went wrong. What went wrong? Yeah, we have to get rid of this as well. Okay, so ShatCN. So we need the input component that will come from installation. Okay, so we have to run this command. Let's copy the yarn command and be sure to run it in your front end folder. Input, we want the label as well, so let's get the label. So input got added, label got added, and now want the usage, so we can just import it and use it. That's cool. So with label, so you can give it this, with button, with form. So I think form component is also there, so let's get that component as well. Installation yarn. Cool. This is why Shardsian is cool. We don't have much time. We have 15 minutes more, so let's get this working at least. Define the shape of your form using Zord schema. We don't want that right now. I just want a simple form field. So we'll go to input and with label, and I will copy this. So we need label and input, so we can copy the whole this thing, imports. This is nice thing about Shardsian, you can copy, and this exactly is the path which we needed, and then we can get this and put it inside our dialog body. I don't know why this styling is there. I will add it myself if required. Okay, and we are not collecting email. Let's call it workflow title. Oh, type will be text. Title. Send TG, send an email on form submit. So recently, if you are following around that what do you say? Yeah, you have been following around for the past episodes. I once mentioned that I am taking this course for CSS for JS, and there I learned about like the difference and importance of label versus the placeholder. A lot of people like even once, if I recall, I have used placeholder as a label, but that's not a good idea. Placeholders and labels serve different purposes. Placeholders are for giving example of what kind of stuff you can put in that input, and label is the actual label of that input, right? So if we go back, new workflow and workflow title. So this is a bit redundant, workflow, so we can give it just the title, right? So title, and probably could use some space here, but for now send an email on form submit. So this is an example of it, and as soon as the user starts typing, they don't know this. So cool. Let's say send email on. So this is a good use case, right? Web form. Whenever someone submits a web form, you want to send a web form submit. So maybe there is a doc type, which basically this will be a 2-node thing. So there will be one document event and then one email, send email thing. And on create, right now it is closing it, but we want to store this title, like create a new workflow and navigate there. So right now this is this thing, create, right? We have to handle this. Somehow we'll handle this, right? For now it is a pass, and we have to track this thing. So what we'll say is we'll come here and we will do one more use state. We are not using fancy stuff right now, because it's just a simple one input form, right? But probably later we may need it, but not now. So we'll say workflow title, set workflow title use state empty string, right? So this will be, we'll come here to input and say the value is this, and on change or on input, on change, we want this to call set workflow title. Cool. On change is not the right thing, or is it? Okay, will give us the value, I guess, and then we can say value arrow function, of course. Okay, TypeScript's not happy. On change on input dot target dot, yeah, this is why TypeScript is good. I otherwise I would have to go to the docs and look it up, but now I don't. And for now, on click, what I will do is I will get that title, whatever title they entered, right? And we don't have any validations or anything yet, but we will add those slowly. So not this title, I want workflow title. Slow. So let's show it here itself for now. Workflow title, right? So to see if React is capturing the thing, nice, send email on form. Cool. So this is the value. Now we can get rid of this since we know it is actually getting it. And on click of that button, right? Click of this button, I want to create a new workflow and navigate to that workflow page. Cool. So we are getting there. So on click, I want to. So Maharshi says probably won't work with our workspace structure though. Yeah, probably not. I'm not sure if it will. But yeah, it's fine. I don't think we'll need we'll need some more components like the drawer and everything, but not worth the effort to go and fetch that. So yeah, focus ring is there and everything is there. So this is making me a little claustrophobic. This the spacing between these things, but fine for now. So what do we want to do here? We can console log, of course. Console.log, that's always there. Workflow title. So if there is no title, right, no workflow title, I want it to return. Very bad, we are not showing, or we can show a toast dot warning or something. Please enter a title. Yeah. So now, for now, it is fine to do show error inform itself later. For now, I think this will please enter a title. This is fine. Or title is required. Title is required. Oh, exclamation marks. Maybe we shouldn't shout at the user. Right, title is required. And if it reaches here that the actual title is there, we have to create a new workflow doc. Document. Okay. So right now we don't have any API for creating a document from here, right? So we'll go to frappe.ts and we have to create a new mutation. Export function, use create doc, and that will be taking a doc type and the actual doc type, right? Doc, actual doc, let's call it the doc. Cool. So it will be, I think, partial. No, not here. The type site. Partial. So it makes all the properties in T optional. So why did I create this? I should have just used partial, because I didn't knew at that time that TypeScript has this utility type that makes everything optional. Ha! Learned a new thing, used it, learn apply cycle. This is super cool. So whatever doc we get, right, we have to use mutation, right? And we give it options, so mutation function, and we'll say we want to make a request. We have to return this. So make request is making a backend request, and that type will be so what API will let us create a new document, right? And path is required. Path will be the name of this document or the doc type. So this will also require the doc type. We can extract it, of course, from what should we do? Okay, let's go with doc type name for now. Okay, and we tell it slash sales invoice slash doc type slash sales invoice document slash sale invoice. Just an example. So in this case it will be slash document slash whatever doc type, and then we want yeah, I don't think we need, yeah, we need params, of course. Params, that will be the doc, right? So this will be sent as, okay, we need method post. We have to make a post request to slash document slash doc type, so method can come up, so it's more readable. So creating a utility for making a request was a good idea indeed. So this, and this will return, I think it returns the created doc. So we can give it a type of okay, wait, so doc will not come here, doc will come here. Haha. So we can call it doc data, whatever we want, and this use create doc, right? This is cool. So you can, by the way, also add on success, on error, everything here as well in this. So we'll just return this thing, and we'll return it from use Frappe as well. Use create doc. We want to return use create doc of this doc type, right? And now the moment of truth, we go back to the list. Here we use that mutation. Let's take a quick 2-minute break. Okay, so I'm back. So let's do it fast. So what do I want? Create doc. So if you see what's the use of this singular use doc type is that it gives you the typing by default. So it will make this type of Hazel workflow, and you can basically have some keystrokes saved, and it's like unified, right? This API. This is in opposed to what Frappe UI has. So it has separate create document list, create doc, so on and so forth. But for one doc type, we have all the operations, and I like it. So use create doc. We will say we are here. Okay, const create. Let's call it use create workflow mutation. It's a mutation, so let's name it like that. Okay, so let's name it like that here as well. Because we have named it, see, use set value mutation, so it will be use create doc mutation, and that should reflect here as well as here. So it's easier for the user doesn't have to guess. Use create workflow mutation, and what did I do? I shouldn't import it from here. Use create doc mutation. Okay, right? So now you can just come here. We can here and say create doc dot mutate, right? And we give it the data. So in this case it will be title, right? It's the only required field, workflow title, and this should create. So on success, let's use on success to show. For now we'll show a toast, and we'll close the dialog, and then or first let's show the toast workflow created successfully. Let's do it. New workflow, send email on form submit, create. Let's go back to the backend quickly. Yes, and it should be enabled by default. Now I realize. And one more thing should happen that I think happened at the list refreshed automatically, but we can also trigger that manually as well. That okay, refresh the list whichever. So I did that automatically in the use set value mutation. So right. So on success, as you can see, I'm just invalidating this thing. So let's go back here and mutation function. On success, we want to fetch the list of. I can copy stuff from here. Invalidate list and doc. I just want to invalidate the list, right? This doc type list and query client. Okay, of course we can get query client from here. Query client. So this will basically we use query client. Cool. So what this will do is, like, as soon as I create a new workflow, right, it will refresh this list. New workflow, create. See, and we want it in the reverse order, so let's add an order by. Yeah, this works, right? And it should be enabled by default. So what I will do is I will go, or it should be disabled by default. I think it should be disabled by default. That's fine. So I will just here I will add a const list options equal to this thing. So we are repeating it, right? So we don't need to repeat it. List options doc type query parameters. So we should export that thing from here. Oh, we are exporting. So this should be doc type query parameters, right? And that will doc type will be Hazel workflow. Okay, much better. So now you get this auto completion stuff. So order by, we want to order by creation, right? Ascending or descending. And now we can replace this with list options as well. So now we don't have repetition of the same object. Okay, this should be descending. No, or order by isn't working. I'm not sure what's happening here. I think order by isn't working. I know why. It's order underscore by, and that should have been clear here as well. See, I have mixed matched these things. Group by, order by, silly mistakes as dict. So this will become order by, and now this will definitely work. And I'm too confident about this, but it works. So whatever new workflow is created, yet another workflow. See, workflow created successfully. And we see, so for CRUD, we did see that was create, update, which was this enable checkbox. Read, we are already reading. The only thing remains is delete. And where do we show that? It should be here as well. I don't know. Maybe we can add a third column with actions later. But for now, okay, we have to set the title to empty. See? So on success, we have to say set title, set workflow title to empty string, right? So after a successful that, it becomes empty again. Cool. So now the only thing remaining is we'll remove this, and we will extract this out, right, to a separate function. So it's not polluting our component code. On click, handle create workflow, and that function I will create just below this. This will be, I'll paste that function. Okay, what did I do? I should have pasted it first before copying something else. Handle create workflow, handle create workflow. Okay, again I did the same thing again. Okay, why? So handle create workflow probably should take a break now. Let's come back. This was not cool. Yeah, now it is fine. So now it is cleaner, right? So we have a separate function that does that. We can say new workflow, testing again, and we can enable testing again and go back to the backend and actually see that, yeah, this thing works. So yeah, that works. Cool. So let's hit commit, fade, create new workflow, push it to GitHub. This component has become used, but we can extract out a lot of stuff from here. We can extract this dialog. We can extract the card and the list itself, I guess. header can be separate. The content, this table, right, can be a separate component. So we'll clean this up. A lot of this also gets cleaned up with that. But yeah, here it is. Here we are. So let's take a break for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be back, and then we will start working on the route, where whenever you create a new workflow or click on this one of this, it takes you to that workflow detail page. So yeah, be right back. Okay, I'm back. Anybody still here? Okay, again the green jacket. Okay. So Ashwin asked, can't find the documentation for view, create document and all. There was a documentation and then there is not now, but I think there will be. So doesn't answer your question, but so what I can tell is look at the source code basically. So it's very easy to understand in the sense, so there are like 3 or 4 of this: create document resource, create list resource, and then there is create resource, which lets you do calls to any endpoint. So okay, this is green as well, so you can't. Okay. Yeah, I'm having some snack. I had some water. Now we are back to work. So where did we leave? Fine. So this is complete, right? So our good old green check. This is almost complete. So let's distribute this into 2 parts. So create new workflow is working. So the workflow route, right? So right now, if you click on any one of this, it won't take to a detail view because there is no detail view. And if we check Figma, this is the thing we decided. We already have the list view, which looks much better than our wireframe, of course. And now we want this view, right? The main thing there where the stuff will happen. So let's go back. This is not the thing. So let's open up our files and see. So we need to create a new route basically, which is where we will start. So in source folder we have a routes folder, and we just have 2 things here, right? So now we need one more. That will be let's call it workflow details, or let's call it workflow.component.tsx, right? Now let's take a reference. So we have to export a const name template. So this is the convention, right? And this will just return a component. So we can call it whatever we want. I will call it workflow details, and for now I'll return workflow details, just a div, right? Let's close this. And route right now, if I go to so it automatically updated this, so /workflow, right? And we want a dynamic part as well, so this won't be just, so if I just go to /workflow now, you will see workflow details page, but what can you say? Nothing here. And we want something like this, workflow /1, right? So it takes you to the details of that workflow. So what we need to do is we need to read some documentation, that's for sure, on how we can define this dynamic part to this component. So where do we start? 10 stack router, file based routing, path params. Okay, so we have to name this in a specific way. Posts dot this dot this, right? So this will be slash post slash, I think that. Cool. So let's do that. So let's call it workflow dot dollar sign id dot component, right? So now I assume that this will stop working. Yeah, but this will work. Yeah, nice. So this is working. Cool. This is cool. So workflow is not a natural route, but a particular workflow is a route. Cool. So how do we access that workflow here? Hazel workflow. No, not this. Path params. So in loaders we can get the params, right? And so we have to convert it into a normal route from a component, right? And now we have to create a route here. Create file route. Okay, let's keep checking if it works. Keeps working. Workflows. Should we call it workflows or workflow? I'm not sure. Const route equal to this. Slash workflow slash id, right? We don't want import dot meta. What is this? Copilot behaving weirdly. Call this, and that it returns a function which we can call, and then that takes an object. Pretty weird syntax. That component will be the component that we have here. Before declaration. Sure, let me just move it here. Let's go back, let's try to render this. There is some issue. The requested module, this does not have provide create file route. There is no create file route. There should be. Let's read. So you can have dot route dot ts dot component dot tsx and dot loader dot tsx. Each of these suffixes will be code split. Route matching. Navigation is fine. Path params. Posts dot this so what workflow dot id dot tsx, that's what I have done. Why doesn't it let me import this? There is nothing called like this, but why? Why? Yeah, there is not. Then why is it importing it here? What? This is weird. Let's look at an example. Examples are usually better because their documentation mentions this stuff exists and this doesn't, which doesn't make any sense to me. So probably looking at an example will make sense. So they have routes. They have this kind of route. Create file route. This shows an error. But why? Why? Their own example doesn't work or what? See? There is no create file route. Component.tsx, and then we can get rid of this and get rid of this. Let's see if now it works, right? So that's an issue. So what we can do is we can split it into two stuff. So I will copy name, create another file. This will be the loader. So data loader and component will be separate. That's fine. So the first step, the hello world of this dynamic routing is like showing the workflow ID here, right? So something went wrong. Okay, that's new. So we can't leave this empty. Export const loader, right? So that's the issue. So we will go back to data loading. Again, they are showing this, but the import doesn't work. Whoa, I don't get it. Cool. Let's go back. Okay. Now let's show one here somehow. And we have to read the docs for path params. So in components. So you can call route.useParams. There is a useParams hook. Okay. Let's go back. useParams const params requires one argument. This is not what we want. I think this use params can be generic. From anywhere you can get the params of any component. That is not what we want. Let's look some more examples. It did hurt to not find this in docs directly, but fine, we'll get there. Where is an example of this? So it is creating a route, but I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay, let's search for this piece. People are complaining. Okay, do this to do that. Okay, not working for me. It's closed now, they say. Okay. So this is problem with React router, not our problem. Okay, let's see if works. Create file. Create file route doesn't show up still. Import from art10 stack dot react router. Create this, create that. Remove your node modules folder. You can try that too, but now this will take a lot of time. Didn't. No, still no luck. How can I use this now? If it doesn't work, how can I use this? I resolved this issue seeing something. I don't have floor clarity inside what. Today the missing import version due to this. This is 23, right? November 23. I resolved this something I don't have. Okay, 83, right? The missing export issue is in 168. Due to it, always install no matter what the numbers or number explicitly I mentioned. But this is way back in November. So what's the correct way to do this now? Now it's just mocking me or something. Let's see what version they are using in this thing. Tan stack 1.7.1 and what version we are using. Tan stack router. Oh, I shouldn't have done that probably. It went way back. Let's go back. So we applied a old solution to a new problem, creating another problem. Let's just restart this thing. Process 2 routes. Fine, let's close this. I don't think this was any helpful, nor this. This works here for some reason. I'm still unable to figure out how to get the props here. Oh, now it comes. Now it comes. This was horrible. Sometimes these seemingly random issues cause a lot of what do you say, frustration, right? Export const route equal to create a file route / this, right? It auto generated it this time, so it's in full sanity. Let's give it the component. Does it take component here? Now we can refer the docs, because actually the whatever the docs says, now it works. Okay, create file route, and then this was not the way to use it, this weird way. Hopefully I get the hang of it, but this is a function call that takes in those things. So component, right, and $id will be coming from, so let's do this, let's split it into multiple lines. I'll return an h1, that's fine, but I want the params. Somehow this $id I want, right? That's the whole parade we went into, but still no luck. But hopefully we'll get this time. So we were in path params, in components. So route dot use params const params what does it say? Oh, it's a hook, right? Yeah, so what happened? Why did I do that? I was cleaning up. Route.use params is not a function, so we have to separate this out. Okay, so this component, right, const let's call it workflow details, that will return this, and here we'll say workflow details, render this component, right? or do I need to call this like this? Oh, it just takes a component. Then why does it show the redirects quickly? Okay, fine. Always read the error message before trying to fix it. My learning for now. So now all the red stuff is gone. I don't want to save my changes. I will close it later. So let's go back and check whether it's still working. Still working. But now I can come here and say const now I realize we should have done this. So what this lets us do is we can put it after this and refer to route params equal to route dot use params, and then here I can say params dot id TypeScript. It's like this is the magic, but I don't know this is worth the effort. Yeah, workflow/1 workflow/2 so on and so forth. So now we can wire up this stuff, right? So I'll go back to the list.tsx and there should be this clickable, yeah, href, right? So this should be, how will it work? So navigation. So it provides a link component, tan stack router, and you can tell it about where to go on click of this, right? Similarly for path params, you can say to and then any params you want to pass, right? This is the deal. Okay, so in this case table row is bringing in the href, and if there is an href, right, it's render the children there. So what should we do? We can wrap this row in a link right, and this will go to this TypeScript. I haven't seen in this in any router. That's why I picked tan stack router, but yeah, effort to learn, right? And this requires the params. I think this should suggest that params should be id. Okay, magical, TypeScript works. id should be workflow.name. Okay, so let's go back to this. Okay, the styling is broken, so maybe we have to flip it. Let's move the link inside the table row. Will it fix this? Horrible mistake. So how do we fix this then? Okay, let's keep this thing. So where do we place the link so it doesn't break? Oh, they are using this link component, but instead we want something else. Let's import link from tan stack link as tan stack link, and then use that instead of this a tag, right? Whatever props it gets. TypeScript is complaining. So maybe what we can do is wherever they are using the link, right? Where they are actually using the link, we will replace our own link. Yeah, this. So I want this to be tan stack link. Import link for tan stack, and then they are using it here, right? So href is not, I think, the right thing here. 2 will be href, and then I think this will pass in any additional stuff that comes. This should. Params equal to params. So this will come as a prop. This will be params. This is how we can modify the code of this catalyst or Shatchi, and they give you the code of the components you modify, use as is. Find params undefined. Let's read through and find out. So here table row context is there, that's fine. Params. So we do have to get the params here. Object. Silly mistake. Cool, that's fine. So now we are not even using this thing, so we can close it. Instead of href, this will be 2. This params. I still believe this is not the right way to do it. Okay, I'm not sure what should be the right way, because that required a lot of effort, changing a component, and that should have been easy in my opinion. So let's revert back the table as it was. Let's give the id workflow.name. So let's get something back, even if the styling is broken, right? The styling is broken, completely broken. So let's move this link inside this. Okay, so as you can see, some issues occur, but that stuff works, right? The styling issues are there, but when you click on some workflow, for example, this was the first one, right? So workflow 1, workflow 3, workflow 5, workflow whatever, so it's working. So let's fix this styling problem. I think what table row is applying is it's creating a tr with the children, right? Whatever children it is getting. What we move it one step. Let's remove href from here and see what happens. Okay, it no longer has that hover styling. So now I am kind of getting the feel that what if I wrote this from scratch, like this table? Could it have been easier? Let's move link above this. How about now? This was broken. Probably because, let's give it a class name. Or is there as? Render block. Okay, that works, but it's not taking full width. So let's give it a class of full width. Maybe there is an easier solution to this. No, you won't take width full. But why? Oh, it's width full, but the children are not. Okay, this is width full. This is T body. The E tag is there. It would have been way easier to do that from scratch. If I apply width 100% here, does it work? Doesn't. Oh, justify items. Or align items, stretch, revert, nothing. Align items won't work, it is justify items only. Too much hackiness. How about we don't render the table, right? We just render the links, and this all we do it manually. Span, or it becomes paragraph or something. We don't want align, right? But the styles will be broken, I know, but it's easier to fix it this way. And we don't need the div. We directly need this now. We can simplify a lot of stuff here, right? And we'll get rid of the table, this, that, everything. We'll create a list component out of it basically. So let's style this. Let's make sure this is still working. This is. If we click, it takes you to that thing. So we can, I don't think we need this anymore, right? So what we can do is we can start styling this. So where do we start? We have a div. Inside that we have a switch. We don't need this as well. We can do semantic HTML if you want, by the way. So let's read more about this link component. Does it give a headless thing? The link component. Okay. There is some issue with the search. Navigation. It renders a normal A tag. Okay. So I'm hijacking the table basically. That's what I'm doing. The table component that came from Catalyst. And then I will do table row, which will contain this link, right? And this will, let's keep it open so we can see how it's styling this. So semantic HTML, and then I will change it again back to table data. Okay, now we can style it ourselves, right? On hover we want something in that and this, so we'll get that back. So we'll say we want this thing. Border 2, border red 300, class name 600. Okay, as you can see, the row takes the full width, but the link doesn't. So class name width full. So let's move this border here, not taking the full width. Okay, let's do block. I know why, because A tags are not this renders an A tag, and A tag is an inline, and inline don't take this kind of instructions. That's that, right? td. So now what we can do is we can say flex space between, or justify between. Doesn't work. Wrong component. This will be flex justify between. Okay, we are getting somewhere. We need some padding 3, right? And on hover of this link, right, let's make brightness 50%. Oh, it makes the brightness of everything. We don't want that. We'll see. On hover will do something. But why doesn't it take this space? What does this align right do? Align right. Maybe that's a property of align the HTML table component, not the table component we got from there. Okay, it takes you to this. Maybe table cell can still be used. I'm not sure. The cell can still be used. And then we can probably remove padding from here. Let's remove the border, it's hurting my eyes. So if you see, there is no line. There is a line here but not there. So this is like, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to do something drastic here. I'm going to cut this whole table off, paste it here. Comment it out of the way. Fresh start. Or let's get something that will let us do shared CN UI. Where did we get this table from? I think we got it from what do you say, Catalyst. Now let's get this simple table from shared CN and try, right? I don't know whether table is a good okay, one more thing, just one more thing. What if let's go back, something just hit my head. We get rid of all the changes we made, right? We get rid of the changes we made here as well, right? So basically what I want is, instead of the link component, right, there is one more way to use routing, and that way is to use the navigation API, use navigate hook, right? So when possible should be, but sometimes you need to navigate as a result of a side effect. Use navigation returns a function that can be called to perform an immediate client side navigation. So what we can say is, on a table row, on click, right, we want to navigate, and href is this, so we'll do something about it. But on click, this is not accessible, by the way. If I do command click, it won't work. So this is just a workaround for now. I will behind the scenes think about it, figure it out, but I just wanted to show one more way of doing this. So we can import const this equal to use navigate. Okay, so this will give us, I think, navigate, and then we can navigate Okay, navigate doesn't work. Why? Probably time to close off the stream. Okay, this takes directly an object. It is recommended to use, that's fine. Okay, let's not use this then. So many red flags of using this. So what I will do is I will get rid of this table because it's not extensible, it's not flexible enough for us, right? And build my own list, and that will happen behind the scene. Cool. And I will also do some layout stuff, so on and so forth. But yeah, we'll meet after that, because I have to do it from scratch, and it is not kind of interesting to watch. Cool. Goodbye then, everyone. Thanks for joining me on Sunday as well. I know you might have felt bored for the last 30 minutes, but that's what it is. Bye bye.